That was Kurt Volker, former U.S. ambassador to NATO, speaking with CCTV's Anna Naidu. For more on this, we're going to talk about the short and long-term impacts of these sanctions on Russia. I'm joined by Mihaela Carstei. She's the Energy and Environmental Program Deputy Director for the Atlantic Council. Welcome back. Good to see you.
Thanks. These
sanctions, let me just read you a quote that came out from one of the media organizations regarding Russia's Deputy Prime Minister, basically laughing off President Obama's sanctions against him. Basically calling, quote, some prankster came up with this list. And I don't want to downplay these sanctions, but the U.S. markets and the European markets all rallied fairly hard on the trading session, indicating to me that people think these sanctions are meaningless. Is that a fair statement?
I wouldn't call them meaningless, but I would definitely say they're not enough. These are, on the most positive aspect, this is the first step in getting together on the same page with Europe and getting some common action, both from the U.S. and Europe. But they're so far from what's required that some may laugh at.
How far are they away from common action?
You really need to see far deeper restrictions. And I don't know if we're willing yet. I don't know if either the U.S. or Europe has gotten to the point where we're willing to take the costs, because it's going to cost us greatly if we are to impose the kind of level of sanctions that we need to impose on Russia.
Here's a stat for our viewers. U.S. trade with Russia is $40 billion a year. Europe and Russia is 10 times that, $400 billion a year.
Yep.
That is a massive number, and that will cause you to perhaps take pause if you're thinking of taking an action. Is that why we're not seeing more being done out of Europe?
Definitely.
It's just about the money.
It's about the money, and obviously the elephant in the room is energy. It's the European imports of Russian gas. However, the level of dependency that Europe has right now on Russian gas is far lower than it has ever been, and they have the ability to impose these sanctions. It's a matter of whether or not they're willing to take the domestic political hit, the economic hit, and that also shows the level of willingness they have to stop the actions that President Putin has.
And Putin knows this too. He knows this, everything we've just talked about, he knows that. So he knows the West isn't going to move too much. And I guess that brings me to my next question is he going to do anything? I mean, this retaliation discussion that we're having, is it even going to happen? Will there be a retaliation first?
From Russia? I don't think so. If he wants to move forward and gain even further territorial occupation, he will do it regardless of what the Europeans and the Americans have done with these sanctions.
For our viewers, we said earlier, in case you missed it, the sanctions really reflect, or I guess are imposed upon really 11 individuals.
Yes.
This is a very narrow group of individuals. Is this by design? Why so narrow?
I guess you had to stop somewhere and pick a number. I guess they picked the top individuals they felt could make an impact on President Putin's future actions.
The media reports say that President Obama and President Putin have had a lot of phone calls.
Yes, they have.
Long phone calls. I mean, these aren't short phone calls. What is being discussed between the White House and the Kremlin during these phone calls?
Well, obviously, I'm not in the White House, and I would love to be a fly on the wall for those phone calls. But I really do believe that they're trying to reach a resolution, and they're trying to hopefully get an elegant out for Russia.
What does that look like?
I don't see it right now. I don't think there is an elegant out, and I don't think there is an out. I think what we're seeing today is probably the best we're going to have to live with.
I look at the market reaction today. I know I come back to that, but there was sort of a sigh of relief, if you will, that violence did not break out over the vote. The markets, the currencies did not respond. In fact, Russia's stock markets were actually higher.
Yes.
I mean, no one would have believed that before. So there's a bit of a sigh of relief. Is this the beginning of the calm? Have we stabilized the situation a little bit, barring any further moves?
Putin's moves have been so surprising that I wonder if this is not the actual plan, where we should fear so much worse that we're going to be happy with how far things have gotten, that it's only Crimea, that it's not far worse. So I don't have a glass ball to be able to forecast if they're going to get much worse, but it's kind of a sad state of affairs that we're in, that we're happy that things have only gotten this far.
All right. Thank you for your insights, Mihaela Carstei. Always good to have you here on the set.